Girlfriend's cheating. Hey, girlfriends, what's up? Jordan exclaimed as she approached her two 20-something friends sitting at a dark wooden table at Dingo's sports bar. Jordan and three of her girlfriend's colleagues at work, Shelley, Pam, and Emily, met almost every Friday after work to swap gossip, eat to their heart's content, and see how much free booze they could get from all the appreciative men who frequented this usually masculine haven. Young, beautiful, well-proportioned girls were in short supply at Dingo's, so the bartender was careful to make sure appetizers were always available, but only charged the girls for one or two orders. He knew he would more than make up for the loss with the drinks that the men at the bar kept bringing to the girls' table. The girls asked for the drinks to be weak so they could drink more and still maintain some semblance of self-control. Since he was interested in their repeat visit, he always honored their requests. The customers had to be satisfied, especially if it was in the bar's best interest. The girls were harassed fairly regularly, but generally the idea was this. If a guy showed his appreciation with a free drink and could keep up a lively, interesting conversation, he could just might be rewarded by having one or more of the girls invite him into their bed for a night of fun and pleasure. This fact, bartender Phil was more than willing to point out to any interested man. But tonight, the girls had other things on their minds. "Have you heard of Vicky Summers?" Pam asked her friends, starting the evening's gossip portion. "I heard from John in accounting that she was served with divorce papers at the office today." "No way, right?" Shelley said, her big brown eyes wide with surprise. "Oh, God, that sucks. Not only was she handed divorce papers, but she did it in front of everyone at work. Damn, that's rough. Yeah, but speaking of divorce, word is that her husband, Micah, caught her making love to Jacob Preston at their house. In their bed." I actually heard a rumor that Vicky and Jake were doing it pretty regularly. No one witnessed it, but the rumor was pretty persistent," Pam pondered, shaking her head. "What did Vicky see in Jake?" "As far as I can tell, he's an arrogant, lying asshole." "Yeah, he's a real asshole, but she didn't want what was in his head. She wanted what was in his pants." Jordan chuckled. "Have either of you slept with Jake?" Pam shook her head glumly, while Shelley remained perfectly still and said nothing, but her silence spoke for itself. Jordan smirked understandingly at Shelley and turned to Pam. "Old Jakey is rumored to have some pretty impressive size and isn't shy about sharing it. Not that we'd know." "Really, Shelley?" Jordan teased. Shelley showed Jordan her tongue and smiled a sly smile. Pam interjected, "Look, casual love is one thing if you're single, but looking for weirdness when you're married is another thing entirely, especially if your husband looks a little bit like Mike Summers. What a catch. I worked with him for a while, and he's a really great, sweet guy. He's funny, smart, a real hottie, and he has a great job. What more could a girl want? I would let him sleep with me in the middle of Main Street during rush hour if I thought it would make him interested in me. In my mind, he's a real stud," Pam continued, now on a roll. "What the hell was Vicky thinking? The stupid fool deserves to lose him. What a stupid-headed woman." Pam spat out forcefully, almost exhaling air. Jordan wryly remarked, "Yes, that's a fact. The stupid fool lost her life for a brief fling in bed with a brainless loser." As soon as she got the papers, she sobbed hysterically and asked to leave, saying she needed to see her parents. She ran away like a child to her mom and dad. Spoiled brat that she is. Jordan sighed and looked away dreamily. Mike is so handsome. I'd marry him in a heartbeat." Shelley gave a sudden gasp. "Do you realize what that means, girls? Mike Summers, so to speak, will soon be back on the market. Losing Vicky could be our gain." Pam and Jordan smiled slightly mischievous smiles and said almost simultaneously, Oh, yes. Let the games begin." Everyone raised their glasses in cheers. Everyone laughed a little at the scene as the bartender served 3 new drinks, announcing that they were brought by a big guy in a blue suit standing at the bar. The girls raised their glasses in appreciation of their new benefactor and giggled. Did the guy really think he could handle all three of them? They went back to their conversation. Soon, Pam, looking a little pensive, asked, "Does Emily know about Vicky and the divorce? You know how close she is to Vicky, like sisters. Where is she anyway? Isn't she coming over tonight?" Jordan nodded slightly. "As far as I know, she's coming. But she's been stuck in board meetings for like 3 days now, taking dictation notes, and then she has to transcribe the notes to prepare some documents. She'll probably be gone for another half hour. She has a good job, but when she has to transcribe board meetings, she has to put her best foot forward. I guess every bright side has a shadow." Friends, we need to be careful what we say about Vicky in front of Emily. Vicky may be a cheater, but she's actually a good person, Shelley muttered, grinning widely. Everyone laughed at Shelley's joke, but Shelley interjected, "No, seriously, girlfriends, we don't want to offend Emily by making fun of her friend." Everyone nodded in agreement. Jordan said quietly, "I think we should tell her what we know, if she hasn't heard already. Since she's been busy the last 3 days, she probably hasn't talked to Vicky. I worked with her in board meetings once, and I thought it was going to kill me. It's a hell of an exhausting job." Shh, pay attention. Emily just walked in. "Stay calm, ladies." Emily saw her friends and waved hello, confidently heading towards their stall with a friendly smile. Sensing that all eyes in the room were on her, she straightened to her full height and slightly jutted out her impressive breasts. Her red hair flowed slightly behind her back, which only added to the effect. Emily looked a little tired, but her easy gait did wonders to revitalize her and brighten the atmosphere of the bar as she approached the booth. "Hi, Emily. You look great, girl. Gosh, you really know how to show up in public," Pam said admiringly. "Hey, girlfriends. Sorry I'm so late. Have you been waiting long?" Emily said in her soft, southern voice. Shelley replied with a warm smile. "We didn't wait, girl. We started without you." "Okay, so I have some catching up to do, and I need a little liquid comfort after the week I've had." Emily sighed loudly and took her seat in the booth, visibly relaxed. They exchanged a few words about how they were each doing, and continued to banter amiably for a while, chatting about nothing, until at least 3 drinks and new appetizers were brought to the table. The bartender lingered around for a while, ostensibly to make sure everything was in order and they were taken care of, but it was quite obvious that he was actually there to be as close as possible to the stunning vision that had just walked in. Emily was beautiful. Her long, light red hair framed her face in soft curls. Her bright green eyes captivated you if you looked into them. Her body was tight, with chiseled curves and long, muscular legs. She was the epitome of femininity, and to top it all off, a sweet, caring person. Her soft voice with a gentle southern accent could melt the phone in your hand if she was on the other end of the line. Emily was special, and everyone knew it but her. The bartender had fallen for her call like a puppy, and she'd tied him to her even more by touching his arm and saying, "Thank you, Phil. You're always so good to us. You're a real sweetheart." Phil brightened up and said, "If you ladies need anything, let me know." He headed back to the bar with a springy gait. "Damn, girl, how do you do that? You could ask him for a car and he'd give you the keys and license without even asking why. You should teach a class," Pam marveled. "I love watching men melt at your feet." "Oh, stop it, Pammy. I just like to show people that I appreciate what they do for me, that's all," Emily said playfully. "Do you think I should ask him what kind of car he drives?" Emily said, flashing her eyes. Everyone giggled a little at that and continued the conversation. Jordan was the first to finally broach the subject of Vicky and Mike. "Have you talked to Vicky lately?" Emily looked questioningly at her friends as they waited for her answer. "Not since Monday, no. I've been too busy to talk to anyone," Emily answered cautiously. "Why? What's going on? What's going on?" Emily asked nervously, noticing everyone's eyes on her. Jordan was silent for a moment, and then got to the point. "Today at the office, Vicky got the divorce papers." Oh, God, no, Emily exhaled. She must be devastated. Mike must have found out about her indiscretion. How she's going to get over it. Oh, my God, sighs. What was she going to do? Emily shook her head, mumbled something quietly, and tried to comprehend the enormity of the news and its effect on her friend. She sat silent for a while, pensive, and continued to shake her head sadly. The others watched her carefully for a while, and then, deciding to give Emily time to think, the three of them began to talk softly. Suddenly, Emily pulled out her cell phone and pressed a few keys. Hi. Yeah, it's me. I just found out what happened. Are you okay, sweetie? No, of course not. I'm so sorry. What can I do? Do you want me to come over? No, you can't be alone right now. It's too serious. It hurts too much. Oh, sweetheart, you go ahead and cry. I'll be there. I can be there in 15, maybe 20 minutes. No, that's what friends are for. I'm coming, and I won't take no for an answer. Oh, you poor thing. I'm just leaving. Hang in there, sweetie. I'm on my way. Bye. Emily closed the phone and sighed heavily. She immediately started packing her things. I'm sorry, girls, but I have to go. I have a friend who really needs a shoulder. How much do I owe? Puffed Emily, pulling out her wallet. Don't be silly, Emily. We'll figure it out. You haven't eaten anything anyway. Just go take care of Vicky. Give her our love and ask if there's anything we can do to help. Shelley waved her arms, chasing her away, and stood up to give Emily a hug. Vicky is very lucky to have a friend like you. You're a doll, baby. Now get out of here and do what you can. Emily hugged her friends and ran out of the bar, giving Phil a kiss and a wave. Everyone in the room looked at her. The three girls made themselves comfortable and began to discuss general topics, but the conversation usually turned back to Mike and Vicky. Half an hour passed unnoticed, under the influence of even more booze. The girls were already beginning to feel the effects. The conversation would flare up and then quiet down, but it kept coming back to Vicky and Mike, mostly about how unworthy Vicky was of Mike and how they would all pursue Mike once Vicky was history. Pam suddenly straightened up. Did you say something about Vicky going to her parents' house today? Yes, I heard her say she was going to her parents as she left the office. She was very upset, Jordan said, perplexed, wondering what Pam was thinking. I know Vicky's parents live in Tampa, Florida, and that's 5 or 6 hours away. If Vicky went to her parents' house, Emily couldn't have gone to hers, Pam pondered. There was silence in the group for a while as their alcohol-soaked brains comprehended and processed the new information. Shit! She's not going to help Vicky! She's going to meet Mike! Shelley suddenly blurted out. Shit! Spat out the other two. Phil, please give us the check! We have to go! Somewhere on the edge of sleep, music was playing. Emily finally located the source of the sound. The offending device turned out to be her cell phone, and she struggled to figure out why it was playing music in the middle of the night. The stupid device was ringing. Two things appeared on the screen. The time was 3:17 a.m., and the caller ID was Vicky Summers calling. Hello, Emily answered hoarsely, barely awake. Don't hello me, you treacherous cheater. Not even a day later and you're already trying to seduce my husband. I thought you were my friend, you sneaky fool. If you touch my husband, I swear I'll shoot you to death, you vicious, filthy, cheating traitor. Vicky spewed fire and venom in her distinctive West Texas colloquialism. Emily was immediately wary and decided to ignore Vicky's tirade. Well, hi, Vicky. It's really nice of you to call, but I have to say that this is a very bad time for me. In case you haven't noticed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I've had a very stressful and tiring week, so I'd like to get some sleep. However, you seem to be very upset with me, and I have no idea why. So if you can calm down, I'd love to hear what you're so upset about. If not, I'll have to ask you to call me at a less inopportune time. Vicky breathed heavily. You know exactly why I'm mad at you. Shelley just called and said that some of the girls told you that Mike served me with divorce papers yesterday and you almost broke the sound barrier to meet him. How could you do that? Have you already slept with him, you shameless, traitorous fool? Is he with you now? He's my husband. Do you hear me, Emily? My husband. You can't have him. He's mine. Emily took a deep breath to calm herself down and spoke in a very slow, soft voice. Yes, Vicky. I did go over to Mike's house, but I swear on everything that is sacred to me that I did not seduce him or sleep with him. You went to your parents' house, and Mike was alone after he found out you betrayed him. He's my friend, like you, and I value my friendship very much. I was very afraid he would do something stupid, so I came to him as a friend, let him cry on my shoulder, and listened to him as he cried out his pain. You hurt him very badly, Vicky, with what you did. He may be your husband, but how could you do that to anyone, much less the man you say you love? How could you do that? Vicky, you said Shelley called you. I had no idea you and Shelley were close. You don't think she called you in the middle of the night for some ulterior motive, do you? Vicky was silent for a while. I really don't know Shelley that well. What do you mean? What ulterior motive could Shelley possibly have? Vicky, honey, you should know that Mike is considered a pretty spectacular party. I know for a fact that a lot of single women are already lining up to take advantage of your situation. While I was at your house, Mike got 4 calls from women who wanted to know how he was doing and how soon he planned to start dating again. One of them was a woman he hadn't even met. Shelley was there at Dingo's when I found out you had been served. Maybe she thought she could drive a wedge between us and distract us enough with a fight that she could go after Mike herself. I don't know for sure, but maybe that's the point. Damn, Emily, suddenly I can't trust anyone. Vicky shook her head sadly. Vicky, you might want to watch how you say that word trust. Right now, your husband is suffering from serious trust issues. He recently discovered that he can't trust his own wife. For the record, Vicky, I promise you that I will not stalk Mike while you two are married. I will comfort you and him, be a friend if you need anything, and hope with all my heart that you can mend your relationship with him and move forward together. But Vicky, you have to know. And I'm going to be as honest as I know how. If Mike becomes a single man again, I will use every trick I have and every drop of energy I have to get him to pay attention to me. Just so you know. Well, thanks for your honesty. Vicky sighed dejectedly. Why did he have to file for divorce? I just don't see what the big deal is. So I slept with Jake? No big deal. It was just a game. A little fun. So? Emily sucked in air in disbelief. Vicky, you're out of your mind. You can't be that stupid. What's the big deal? Oh my God, girl. You brought a strange man into your home, the house you share with your husband, into your bed, the bed you share with your husband, and you invited him into your body, which you supposedly promised to use exclusively for making love to your husband. You did it behind your husband's back while he was out of town. Obviously, you didn't think Mike would mind, or you wouldn't have gone sneaking around. Just playing around? What would it take for you to see that as a serious problem? Maybe if you had Jake's kid? Or maybe if you tied Mike up and made him watch? Shit, Vicky. Be honest. At least be honest with yourself. And me. And another thing. If you really think this is nothing special, then explain to me the purpose of this phone call. Can you do that, please? You called me in the middle of the night to yell at me and threaten me because you thought I slept with your husband. Explain this crap to me. According to you, love on the side doesn't have to be a big deal. You don't even believe the bullshit you're saying. See, now you've made me forget all my manners. You disgust me so much, Vicky, I could spit. Poor Vicky. Her husband's divorcing her because she acted like a brainless cheater. You deserve to lose him. How can I sleep after you've made me so angry? You cheated on your husband, Vicky, repeatedly from what I hear, and you dare to be willing to commit murder because possibly he slept with someone else. Explain that logic to me, okay? You can't because there isn't any. You're pissing me off. You better watch who you threaten, Missy. If you come at me with a gun, I swear it's gonna take a team of surgeons to pull that gun out of your ass. I'm swearing like a drunken sailor, and I'm supposed to be a Southern lady. My grandmothers are spinning in their graves. I swear I'm furious. Emily was seething with anger as she finished her little speech. Vicky was now crying and wailing. I know. You're absolutely right. I'm a bloody idiot. I just didn't want to admit it. Oh my God. I lost him, Em. He was the best, and I lost him. How can I look someone in the eye? How could I be so stupid? I don't even know how he found out, but he told my dad he had the pictures and everything. Now he'll never take me back. It's over. Oh, Vicky, I'm so sorry, Emily said sincerely, but also shook her head at the disaster her friend had brought upon herself. Emily decided it was time to continue the conversation. So you're saying that your dad talked to Mike? Yes. When I got to my parents' house and let them see the divorce papers, my dad called Mike and started yelling at him to explain himself. Dad was very angry until Mike told him that he had video and concrete proof that I was cheating on him. Dad shut up, apologized for both of us, and hung up the phone. He looked at me like I was some kind of two-headed space creature and hasn't spoken to me again since. I still don't know how Mike got the video of us. I think I can answer your question. Mike told me that you were chatting with him online and you seemed distracted. He said you were wearing a robe that you normally only put on to cover your special underwear for full visual effect later. After you went offline, he got worried and suspected something amiss, so he logged into your laptop and started controlling it remotely. With the laptop lid off, he was able to access the external webcam he bought specifically to talk to you. He restarted the video chat program and controlled everything remotely from his hotel room. The laptop was on the dressing table in your bedroom, so he saw and heard everything. He set his computer to record the entire session. I didn't know he could do that. Oh, come on, Vicky. Your husband is the equipment manager at a big law firm. He oversees every piece of equipment that has a power cord or battery in their office building. He's like a computer genius. Of course he can do it. He also said something about a policeman appearing in the doorway. What was that? Oh, a policeman came in and said he had a report from a neighbor that someone was sneaking around the neighborhood. He asked if he could come in and look around. I let him in, he looked around, and I introduced Jake to him. I told the officer that Jake was an invited guest. Did they meet in your bedroom? Yeah. Why? Well, it means that Mike has confirmation from the police officer and his shift report of the time and date, and the police officer will indeed appear on the videotape if Mike needs it for evidence. It won't mean anything in divorce court, but it could be important if you guys have a prenup or something. Emily, I'm totally screwed. Vicky shrieked. Mike works at a goddamn law firm. Of course, we have a goddamn prenup. In the event of proven infidelity, I get nothing at this point in our marriage. My father will be furious. He was determined that Mike would lose everything if he insisted on a divorce, and then he'd be more willing to stop the process and forgive me. I'm even willing to bet it was Mike who called one of the neighbors to call the police. Oh my God, Em, I've definitely lost him. There was a long pause while Vicky considered her situation. Em, I've got to go. I don't think I can talk anymore. Look, I'm sorry I yelled at you, and thank you for being my friend, listening and all, when I needed it. Now I know what I have to face. Thank you, Emily. Good night. Good night, Vicky. Take care of yourself, sweetheart, and I hope you're doing well. Call me if you need me. Bye. Bye. After the call disconnected, Emily looked at the phone in her hand, shook her head and rolled her eyes. Stupid, spoiled fool. She then lay down on her bed and tried to get the adrenaline rush under control and fall asleep. Sleep wouldn't come because thoughts of Micah kept popping up in her mind. Emily Summers. Mikey and Emily Summers. That sounds good. Mike, baby, once I put my arms around you, you won't stand a chance. If only I can keep from pouncing on you before your divorce becomes final. After all, a girl's gotta have her principles. Hang in there, Emily. Patience is a virtue. Finally, she drifted into a cozy, deep sleep. Once the videotape was presented and confirmed, fighting the divorce was pointless, and Vicky and her parents insisted on a calm and quick conclusion to the proceedings. Vicky moved to Tampa and took a job with her father. Her father's family ranch in West Texas was rented out for grazing, and there were several active oil and gas wells on the property. Vicky traveled to her childhood home many times, making sure the property was maintained and the oil production kept up. She also began to utilize her unmarried status in embracing some of the ranch and oil well workers. Emily maintained a close relationship with Mike, helping him move on after Vicky. They talked, they laughed, they argued, they shared their souls and recognized each other's loves and fears. Mike had always admired and loved Emily's character, her fierce loyalty to her friends, and straightforward, fiery personality. She was principled, compassionate, and passionate, a powerful combination. Emily insisted that there be no physical union while Mike was still married and for a decent 4-month period after the divorce became final. 3 weeks after Mike and Vicky's marriage was dissolved, Emily was awakened by a frantic pounding on the door. It was just after 3 in the morning when she opened the door and saw Mike wearing a cape and cartoon character pajamas. She was stunned and barely had time to speak. "Mike, what's wrong with you?" As Mike enclosed her in his strong arms and his tongue began to taste her tonsils. She tried to pull his coat off him without letting go and whispered hoarsely, "I can't wait any longer either." The first time they made love on the living room floor, and twice more before sunrise in Emily's bed. From that morning on, they became an inseparable couple. Mike and Emily Summers. There really is something nice, solid about that word. The end.